Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, November 5th. We are halfway through the work week. It is the Flex Zone Podcast, the only place giving you sports straight how you want it.
When you need it.
You see the man to my right, to my left, the OTC, the Flex Zone Messiah, one half of the Founding Fathers, the one half of this person who made it the privilege of what I do each and every day sitting up here in front of you. My brother, the man getting ready to be in Minnesota, my boy, Mr. Worldwide. Not Pitbull, but Drizzy, Dre, Mr. Morgan State University, Mr. Homecoming. What's going on, my guy?
Acknowledge me. Always a pleasure to be on here with you, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. First of all, how you feeling? Trade deadline is over, and you're getting ready to go to, for those who don't know, to Minnesota and to Lambeau back-to-back days. Real quick, if you want to let the people know about your upcoming bon voyage, because keeping up with Dre.
Yes, sir. So like Byron said, I'm doing an upcoming trip with the fellas. We're going to the Ravens-Vikings game that Sunday. Then I'm traveling up to Green Bay for the Eagles-Packers game.
Definitely can't wait to hear how those experiences go. Shout out to AJ and Paul, by the way. So I know that they'll be with you. Shout out to the brotherhood. Dre, like we said, trade deadline was yesterday, and it's in the books. It was let me actually get the numbers here. There were 8 trades on yesterday, tied for the second most of any trade deadline going back to 1990, where there were 10, and 10 also on November 1st, 2022. 18 total trades from October 1st to this day, which ties with 2022 and 2024 for the most time in a time period, Dre. So people were wheeling and dealing, as they say.
Yes.
What did you think it was enough trades? Do you feel like it was more because we had teams like, I don't know, the Lions or the Packers, or even some here in Baltimore didn't maybe do enough, or the Commanders maybe trying to get more picks like Cravante talked about since they only have a few? How do you feel about what maybe teams didn't do before we got into the teams that did?
I think that, there weren't enough trades of necessarily like things needed outside of the Colts. I feel like, the Colts and the Jets. I feel like those two teams did the best when it comes to this trade, the trade deadline, because the Colts, they gave up a lot. like the Packers, but they got a necessary piece. Um, I do have an issue with them giving up two firsts. I think Sauce is good, but I don't know if he's worth two firsts. We haven't seen a trade like that since Khalil Mack from the Bears. So I'm curious to see what happens, but I don't know moving forward how that propels the Colts because we still got questions at the quarterback position. So clearly they think that this is the quarterback moving forward, and they think that they're just a piece away on defense. Um, and the Jets, I feel like they did what they needed to do, just blew it all up. We always talk about on the show, sometimes teams just need to blow it up. And that's what the Jets seem to be doing. So apparently they must be all in on their head coach and they just want to start fresh with his perspective because the Salah era apparently is over.
Yeah, and as I look here at all of the names traded from going back to October 1st, remember you had guys like Joe Flacco, Alohi Gilman comes to the Ravens, Owe goes to the Chargers. He's got 3 sacks in 4 games. Newsome, McCrary goes to the Rams, the Rams, the Rams. You had Philly doing what Philly does. They get Jair from the Ravens. I mean, Dre, any of these really, really jump out to you? I know there have been a lot, I know, besides yesterday, but I mean, even Flacco, even though since he's kind of losing, the brother is still playing maybe even better than he played here in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens sometimes when you have two monsters at wide receiver. Of course, you're gonna go ham. So, I'm happy that Joe seems to have a reemergence of his career because definitely Cleveland and the Jets are just, and you got to throw the Raiders in there too. They're just dead teams. If you go there, you already know what time it is. But um, I'm gonna say I forgot to throw in the Eagles. I think sometimes we take for granted how good the Eagles are, and because they always make moves. But again, their general manager making moves, like you said, getting Jair. They got Phillips out of Miami, so they're always moving and shaking pieces around. Um, Definitely the best general manager in all of football. I think that, a lot of times in Baltimore, we say that we have a good general manager, but I mean, this is an innovative general manager because he somehow is able to stay under the cap, but yet get the necessary pieces in order to put his team in a championship caliber position.
All right, let's get to the trades, Dre. We had earlier, we can actually go back. We had Jacoby Myers first because that was kind of one of the
Mhm.
first moves of the morning, I believe, just going on the timeline. Jacoby
Yeah.
Myers goes from the Raiders to the Jaguars. We know Travis Hunter is banged up. They say he's going to be back. You add him with Brian Thomas Jr., your boy Fabio down
Mhm.
there trying to get him over the hump. They're in the playoff mix though. They beat the Chiefs on Monday night, but then they've lost some games they shouldn't have, but they did win against the Raiders. I mean, are they a potential team that could make that playoff bump, maybe as a wild card?
No.
So you're not buying the Jaguars. Even
No.
the defense is pretty good. No, not buying it.
And no, so it's a team that has talent, but it's a team that, while at the same time, though you have talent, can you put it together? I mean, look. We mentioned the Jets earlier. The Jets had a very talented roster. I mean, you had people like Sauce Gardner out there. You had um, Brees, who at the running back position. You got their wide receiver. I mean,
Garrett Wilson.
yeah, they I mean, they had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. So just because you have talent, can you formulate the talent and put it together? We've seen the Ravens this year. I mean, the Ravens started 1-5. And look
Mhm.
at the talent that they got. They were up there talking about this is supposed to be the best secondary in all of football, one of the best defenses far as talent. But just because you have the talent doesn't mean that it's going to gel well together. We've seen that all time and time again. Those that were talking about the NFL, look at the NBA, look at the Major League Baseball. You got teams like the Miami Heat who took a while to gel together with their big three. You've got the Mets, all that talent, all that they paid for, and yet they still can't even make the damn playoffs. So just because you have talent doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to necessarily win a championship or be in a championship position or even a playoff position. So no, I don't believe in the Jags.
Real quick, they have the Texans on the road this week, but like we said, if CJ's out, which it looks like it is, Dre, I mean, they got to win
Yeah.
that. They got the Chargers, Cardinals, Titans, Colts twice, Broncos, Jets, and the Titans. Yeah, it might be tight for them. They might get 9-8.
Not even less than that. I think that if CJ Stroud was playing, I don't think that they would have beat the Texans this weekend. The Texans, we've seen how questionable they are. You mentioned that they got the Broncos. You mentioned they got the Chargers. You mentioned they got the Colts. No.
Twice. All
It's,
right,
no.
we'll keep it. But I do like Jacoby Myers, to add.
Yeah, I like it that the Jags are trying. I always
Right.
like a team that at least tries, but they just can't seem to get together. I mean, Trevor Lawrence's position reminds me of Joe Burrow, and though Joe's been to a Super Bowl, again, he can't even sniff the playoffs. So, they got talent at the quarterback position, but sometimes it's about where you land and not necessarily about the person at the quarterback position, because sometimes you can't overcome bad situations no matter your talent.
All right, let's get to the other receiver. We'll do the receivers real quick. Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. I like this guy. We talked about it with my guy from State of the Saints. And I think this could be one of the best deals. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who leads the league in receiving. You got Sam Darnold balling out. They can run the ball. And Dre, we know how the defense is. They could be, I know you like the Rams, but I don't know the schedules, but the Seahawks could win that division, man.
Man, if the Seahawks, which I think that they will make the playoffs, and you don't want, but the thing about the division is, I think if I'm the Seahawks, because they seem to play better for some reason under this regime on the road, which is odd because you would think that Seattle, with being the 12th man out there, that would help them. But if I'm the Seahawks, I don't want to win the division. I think I'd rather be on the road and upset one of these teams and let the Rams just go ahead and have it.
I mean, we kind of all have questions about Sam Darnold, but you get as many weapons as you can for the brother. They have the Cardinals, which should be a win. They play the Rams twice. They play the Colts. They play the 49ers. They play the Falcons. The Panthers, who are a team in contention. The Vikings. They got a tough second half schedule, though. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy, but I think this team will make the playoffs.
Okay.
Now I believe in Sam Darnold more than I do Daniel Jones. But I mean, it's crazy because both guys have been questioned at the quarterback position, but I've just seen more out of Sam Darnold than I have Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones has just one sample size, while Sam Darnold seems to be getting it done every stop that he's been able to be at outside of the Panthers and the Jets, which we know right now, unless you Cam Newton or Joe Namath out there, then.
Rams have the 49ers, Cardinals twice, the Lions. They play the Seahawks twice, as we said. So that's going to – and they play the Buccaneers. So those head-to-head matchups probably going to determine who wins the division.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the big one early, Sauce Gardner, Dre, for 2 ones from the Colts, goes to the Colts from the Jets. Only 3 picks in his career, though, Dre. Is this a little bit of an oversell? And did the Jets kind of fleece the Colts? I know he just signed a 4-year extension this offseason, so the Colts have him under control and he's still young, but he's not the game changer maybe we thought he was. He was a number 4 overall pick.
Yeah, when you look at his numbers, you think that he's not like you said, the game changer we thought he was going to be. He's projected as one of the best corners in all of football, but he's not making much noise out there, it seems like. So I think that they did overreach. Like I said earlier, I think 2 firsts is a bit much for him at that position. I mean, it's not like it's Deion Sanders, Darrell Reeves is out there. Like he's good, but I don't think he's worth all that. But then again, I mean, we'll see, because this is a guy who flourished under Saleh, but not necessarily he's not doing that good this year under Aaron Glenn. I'm not sure why, because both are defensive guys. So it's not like the Jets went away from their philosophy about being on defense.
Hey, Dre, real quick aside, man. She ain't a bad looking owner, man.
Oh, no. I would love to play for her.
Respectfully, man. She's involved, man. It's not like a woman that loves football and pro wrestling in our world, or sports in general, because it's hard to find them when they look good too, brother. And don't let them go to church. Look, and don't let them go to church. They might have to meet mama, but that's another story.
Yeah, because you remember the Broncos had a woman at the ownership position, but she was a little long in the tooth. Is
the lady with the Saints too, the Miss Benson.
Oh yeah,
she got the Pelicans too. Remember, we were warned they was going to suck. That's another story. For another day. Still winless, and Zion is hurt again. By the way, if you guys didn't hear.
No surprise.
Yep.
But I think that like I said, I feel like the Colts, they did get finessed on this because they they got fleeced because two first, but then again, he may flourish under this new regime. I mean, when you come
Is this
from a
gonna get them over the hump though? That's the question. We know about the
no,
okay, all right, okay.
because like I mentioned earlier, the Khalil Mack situation. I mean, just because you have a guy doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the piece that gets you over the hump. I mean, look, you've gotten on me on Mondays, so when we talked about the Packers, and you got the Packers up there who have with all that talent. Again, we talk about talent, all that talent, and you're losing to teams like the Browns and what was it,
The
the Saints,
Panthers,
the Panthers that
Panthers
they
at
just
home.
lost to. I mean, and you're right, at home. So it's like, come on now.
Remember
Sometimes,
that place used to be. You never, as much as I slid Aaron Rodgers, he never lost at home because I used to say they played every game at home, just about.
mhm. And yeah, that's just something you can't do when you have these easy games. Yeah, I mean, and granted, any given Sunday, but some games, you know this. We've been covering this thing for a long time. Both me and you, both on the collegiate level and on the professional level. There are games on the schedule that automatically you circle them like, okay, that next game, and it just shouldn't happen, even if you don't play your best. Those type of things that shouldn't happen. We seen the Packers earlier this year who traded for Micah Parsons. Now we're seeing right now with Sauce going to the Colts. I just don't think that this is a move that gets them over the hump because I mean, shoot, we got questions at the quarterback position. I mean, look how the quarterback turned over the football against the Steelers. The Steelers who are the last ranked defense in like every statistical category. And they made Daniel Jones look like he did when he was with the Giants. So no, I don't think that this trade gets them over the hump. I think this trade will help them. They may be able to win a playoff game now because of this trade, but it's not going to put them in the top tier as far as football teams. But then again, we may see them again get exited anyway because of the quarterback and not because of the defense.
And I told Mark, who's a Colts fan, I told him they was going to lose this past week. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if they do somehow get the number one seed, that they're that team. Dre, every year it's a team that gets the
Mhm.
number one seed and they get that bye and they host the playoff game and they get washed. It was the Lions last year by the
That's yeah,
Commanders.
yeah.
We see it every year. It never fails. Even the Ravens lost when they were number one to the
Oh,
Titans.
Titans. So yeah, you're
I
right.
mean, and real quick on the they tied with the
Mhm.
Cowboys too, the Packers. I can't believe that. When Michael Parsons was coming back, he didn't even do much in that game. But these are the Jets picks before we get to their other trade. I know you got to get ready to run, but two first next year, Jets and Colts. Now the Colts one will probably be in the 20s. A second round pick from the Jets and a second round pick from Dallas, which could be high. 2027, though, Dre, which we know could potentially have guys like Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State, the wide
Mhm.
receiver, Arch Manning, others. That's supposed to be the next great class. I don't know about 2026 yet. And three ones basically. There's the Cowboys and the Colts. The Jets
Yeah,
doing a good thing, I think, though.
yeah. Like we were talking earlier, blow it up. I think that if what the Jets need to do is build from the inside out, and what I mean is get right with your line. You've seen the Cowboys do that. We were wondering for years. We were like, why do Cowboys keep choosing old linemen? Then what they end up doing, having the best offensive line that helped Ezekiel Elliott and it helped Dak Prescott. What I think the Jets need to do with these upcoming picks, build your line both offensively and defensively. Then you start working on the quarterback position in 2027. And then like you said, you also have another first round pick, which means that you could possibly get, like you said, you could have the top quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks, along with a top wide receiver right there.
You
And then
pay
these
Garrett Wilson. He's under contract because him
so
and Sauce both got paid within a couple of weeks.
and if it seems like they keeping Garrett Wilson, so I mean, we'll see if they keep Garrett Wilson and he's able to hold on for a little bit, get one of these rookies in there to play alongside him. I mean, you see right now what the Dallas Cowboys are able to do as their dual threat with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. So the Jets could be on the way up there. I put a lot of this on the ownership, so hopefully the owner, but he seems to be all in because he knows to blow it up. So maybe he's turning things around. We'll see, but I think the Jets I think they did the right thing. They just blowing it up and don't change the head coach. Keep the head coach that you got in there so that way it gives him a chance to put in his system, his guys, and get that old regime out of there, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Lastly, Dre, before you get out of here, the Jets also traded Quentin Williams to the Cowboys on
Mm,
getting a first round pick out of them. I think they said the Ravens were involved, but I don't think the Ravens were giving up a one, nor should they. But
no, should they?
did you like this move for the Cowboys trying to rebuild that defense? I mean, Quentin Williams is a dude in the middle.
He is a dude, but I just don't think that a one. I think that that's a reach. I mean, we talked about it with Sauce, but um, no, I don't think he was. I don't think he's worth a one. I think Dallas was kind of desperate, being that they just got mollywopped on Monday night. All eyes on them. It reminds me of the Ravens. All eyes on them. We think that this is a game that they should win, and then you get destroyed out there. So I think that Dallas just made a desperate move, especially because Jerry Jones right now is trying to validate getting rid of Micah Parsons. Now, some people say it's a good move that he did that, and then some people are saying that it's not a good move. So that remains to be seen. But I just don't think that a first. It's just some players are worth a first, and I don't think he's worth a first.
Also added Logan Wilson. This is probably maybe more of a next year they're trying to be better because this year they suck. So
Mhm.
maybe they get a top 10 pick, get another defensive player. They're going to probably use the money they didn't use to pay Micah. And then, like you said, they're kind of like, well, we got the draft picks. I guess we'll try to, we got 2026 because 2027 is traded to the Jets now.
Dallas, it's going to take a while because offensively, yeah, you seem to have it. I mean, Dak is putting up Joe Burrow type of numbers. They've got two great receivers, and one of them they got to get ready to pay him. So what? So you're back in square one. What you've
I
been
think they
doing?
got to pay him, though. I think that dynamic is working on offense. The offense ain't the problem. Dak is having an MVP year if they were any good. I mean, he's balling. They're balling.
Yeah,
He working out.
I mean, Dak's been balling the past couple years. I mean, I think that having Pickens there definitely helps them, but you need, they still need, they're iffy at the running back position. You still got a lot of questions. Of course, we said on defense, so it's going to take a while for the Cowboys to get to where they need to be, and then Dak isn't getting any younger. So though he's putting up great numbers, um, it just it's the defense that sucks. I mean, we see the frustration right now with the Bengals, and that's what the Cowboys are doing. You can't rely on just one side of the ball and think that that's going to propel you. I mean, we haven't seen that since the days of Ray Lewis, because even on the Seattle team, their offense still did enough to put up points. Uh, it's just you just can't be that team to rely on one side of the ball to carry you anymore. You need to, in order to be a championship team, you need to be good at all levels. One can be better than the other, but you got to be good at all levels. And that's why the Chiefs are in it every year, because they do enough on defense, they do just enough on offense, and it works every single time. So, no, I don't like what they're doing moving forward.
Real quick, they have a tough schedule. They have the Raiders, which Quentin Williams will play on Monday night, but they got the Eagles, Chiefs on
Mm.
Thanksgiving. So while you're eating your mashed potatoes, turkey, and ham, or whatever else you eat, your sweet potato, your mac and cheese, they'll be getting their ass whooped probably because the Chiefs gonna need that game. Lions, Vikings, Chargers, they'll beat the Commanders, and then the Giants could beat them in Week 18. So they could maybe only win one more game.
Cowboys are missing the playoffs. We said that. The funny part
Yeah.
is when they had Micah, I was like, okay, they might. There's a chance for them to make the playoffs, and now we're seeing them, and we're like, no, they not doing it.
And then, like we said the Giants were better than them, and it might not be too far off, even with all of their injuries. And they look like they got a quarterback, though.
Yeah, they look like the Giants look like they're ascending while the Cowboys are descending.
All right, Dre, you're going to Minnesota this week. Do you think the Ravens did enough? And what is your score prediction? And how you feel like the key to this game is? Brian Flores loves to bring the heat against Lamar Jackson. How you see it playing out?
I don't think the Ravens did enough. I think that there's still a lot of needs. I mean, you guys are trying to convince me about the trade, but I'm still
I
not.
think he helps out Dre a lot in the run game, maybe even more than the pass rush because he can set the edge and he's not going to get pushed back as much. So then Kyle, like you said, running free. Roquan, I know you don't really, maybe you think we need another linebacker, but I think look out for number 40 while you're there. Buchanan, I think he's a good linebacker. So him and Roquan together hopefully can work together because they got weapons, man. I don't care. And you like JJ. You like JJ.
I just feel like if they had got a linebacker like a Phillips along with their trade, I think that might have, I would have definitely like, okay, the Ravens are moving in the right direction. I think that we still need help with the linebacker position to help Roquan out there. But I think that this weekend, I think it'll be a kind of a mid-scoring game. I'm not going to say high-scoring game. I think it'll be a mid-scoring game, maybe like a 24-17 type of game. I think the Ravens do pull it out. I think that, again, Lamar hasn't seen a Brian Flores team since, 2004? I'm sorry, what's this? 2021. That Thursday night game when Lamar lost, and you could see the frustration on his eyes. Again, another game that we were favored to win, end up pulling up a stinker. But I think that the Ravens will win. I think we can pull out this game. But I mean, I got to give JJ McCarthy his credit. When he's been in the game, his team wins, and they seem to end up looking good. I mean, what was his first game against? It was the Monday night game
against the Bears. Who are now red hot, which we thought they'd be good.
And then he ends up beating the Lions. So I mean, you're 2-0 in the division, 2-0 in your career. So the boy apparently can play. So I'm more worried about the offense than the defense than the offense. The offense has been better, but they haven't been tremendously great either. But they've been better. So if the defense can hold steady, and I think that with the blitz, Lamar isn't Jared Goff, so he's not going to be in the pocket, standing still and whatnot. I think Lamar is still elusive. Lamar is still going to be able to get the ball out. I think with that blitz, you can pick apart that blitz. We've seen teams do it, like the Chargers, who just ate them up. So you can pick apart that Vikings blitz, and I think that if you just go ahead with the Dake and Donks in there, get it quickly off to a Zay Flowers. Get DeAndre Hopkins is still out there. You still got Likely. You got Andrews. So we have weapons where we can still pick it apart. And then if we can pull back from them doing the blitz, again, that's going to open up lanes for somebody like a Derrick Henry or a Justice Hill to be able to get in there, run the football. I think the Ravens do pull it off on the road this weekend.
All right, Joe, I appreciate you, brother. I know you got to run. Let the people know what to do to keep up with us here on the channel. And when we will see you, we'll see you next week because you'll be in Green Bay on Monday night in Lambeau.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. But of course, make sure y'all like and subscribe right here to the Flex Zone channel. My man Byron is always putting in that work. We appreciate the hard work of him, Uncle Raj, Cravante. Check out everything that we do. All our wrestling streams. You see me right here. Anytime that there's sports news, we're going to be here to give it to you guys. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button.
Appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you in a few. Thanks again, bro.
Of course, man. No problem.
Shout out again to Drizzy Dre. Shout out to everybody in the chat too. Good morning. Make sure you guys are having a great Wednesday. Don't let nobody fuck it up because it's a great day. We're alive. But I did want to talk on some Orioles things while I was here. Since I'm here, I might as well do it now. If you watch the replay, you'll catch it. But yeah, I do like a lot of the trades that did happen. Like I said, I really like I like for both sides, for the Colts and the Jets. I like the Jets rebuilding. Hey, it's not working. We're going to go back to the drawing board. Now, they did have 2 number 1 picks from the Jamal Adams trade, which they did get Garrett Wilson, which great pick, paying off. And they also got Elijah Vera Tucker from USC, the guard, I believe, who's hurt this year. So they have had some injuries to the offensive line, but they do have their 2 tackles. Mimbu is really, really good, and Fashanu. And like I said, they have Elijah Vera Tucker, so they need, obviously, a quarterback. Now, I don't think 2026 quarterback class is that great. Dante Moore out of Oregon is really impressive. I'm not a big Fernando Mendoza fan. I did see him against Maryland. Didn't knock me off my socks. if he's the number one pick, he should have done more in that game, in my opinion. Yes, Maryland has a good defense, but still, if you're that guy, show me who you are. But they get the 2-1s in 2026, get 2 2s in 2026. So you get 4 impact players right off the bat there. Then you get 2027 3-1s, your own Dallas's and the Colts number 1 pick. So that is going to be very interesting next few years to see what they end up pursue as an organization. Like I said, a lot of draft capital. I'm an NFL draft nerd, so I like to look at these types of things. But on the Colts side, I think the Colts they have a really, really good defense, in my opinion. And I think that is really what's kind of carrying them a little bit. You know, you got guys on the defense like Kwity Paye, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, Latu, who's a really, really good second-year player out of UCLA. I like them coming out of the draft. Jermaine Pratt be flying around. Zaire Franklin leads the league in tackles, it seems like, the last few years. Now, he's a Turk. Cam Bynum, Jonathan Edwards, and Kenny Moore. Now, they have Ruben Lowry, former Raven, as well. Interesting. But interestingly enough, Sauce, of course, adds to, I think, a weakness. They needed a corner, somebody on the back end. Kenny Moore's a good nickel. But, yeah, they needed another corner. Now, the Jets being able to say, oh, wow, you're going to give us 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner for a corner, a non-quarterback? You're damn right. I'm going to sign on that dotted line, and you best believe I'm going to take the deal. But looking at it, also that Sauce Gardner, as you see, the wonderful, beautiful, potentially, yes, even better than Steve Bisciotti, Carly, Ursay, yes, Gordon, because she is married. Don't want to be disrespectful. But the wonderful Ms. Gordon saying, fuck those picks. I mean, doing the LA Rams motto, you know what I mean? They figure, hey, we're going to be picking in the 20s anyway. They're going to be picking in at least probably 24 through 32 potentially, because they'll be in the playoffs and probably one of the higher seeds. So they're going to be picking mid to late 20s this year. They're going to be bringing a lot of these pieces back. I mean, right now, Jonathan Taylor is one of the MVP candidates. Him, Matthew Stafford. You want to throw Baker Mayfield in there. Those are some of the guys I think who should be really considered. Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Tyler Warren, who I love coming out of Penn State, pretty much does it all. Kind of like the new Dallas Clark. Really good in the pass game. Really good pass protector as well. Good in the run game. Good after the catch. Really, really good in the red zone. Good soft hands. I mean, he does it all. Like I said, the offensive line with Nelson and Smith, they got a really solid. I know they got a little bit this week, but as with Hayward, Watt, Heisman, who else? I mean, Herbert, got a lot of pieces in their front seven. If they can get pressure, I think, they have the potential. They have the other, they got Derek Harmon, who I like, who's healthy again. So that is very, very interesting. But the Jets also did get from the Colts, they got the receiver. Let me see. What was his name? The dude that dropped the kick into the end zone. He against the Rams. They were playing the Rams and they had a chance to score, and he dropped the ball before it went to the end zone, ended up being a touchback. Adonai Mitchell. He's a speedy guy. I mean, they didn't find a lot for him in the offense with having Alec Pierce, who's having a really Michael Pittman, who's really underrated as well. But they added, you got Mason, a really good, promising young tight end, son of the great Dawson Taylor. You got Fashanu, like I said. You got Verdak. They have a solid foundation on offense. They just need a quarterback, really. And like I said, Adonai Mitchell with Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall still there, is an impending free agent. But eventually, Brayson Allen is going to return, if not this year, next year. So if Brees does leave, they can add him in as well. They have plenty of picks. They want to get a running back at some point in the draft next year. Justin Fields is only on a 1-year deal. So what do they do at quarterback? I think they will end up taking a swing at quarterback, especially if they end up with the number 1 or number 2 pick. I could see them going quarterback. It's going to be hard for them to not take one unless somebody just knocks their socks off with more draft capital trades. But you get Adonai Mitchell, so you see what you got with him. You got John Mechie too. You got to see what you got with these guys, because Garrett Wilson is going to need a running mate, like the promise of Mason Taylor, but you're going to need another receiver. The Allen Lazard experiment failed, and it is what it is. But I'm intrigued to see. This is one of those trades that maybe helps out both teams. And I'm not going to be upset if that is the case because it could be needed. But I like that move. He will wear number 1 like Pat McAfee used to. So that's interesting as well. Shout out to Pat McAfee. So that'd be interesting to see. But I do like Shaheed going to the Seahawks with Smith and Jigba. They have some really, really good pieces. Of course, Kendall Walker, Charbonnet. Look out for the Seahawks. Like the Seahawks and the Rams played each other twice over the past few weeks. That could decide the division. Those, I'm sure they'll be in prime time as well. Both will all nationally get a look at these two heavyweights in the NFC West, which I think has a in. Those two divisions, NFC North and NFC West, are going to be very, very difficult to really decipher who is going to be the person who wins those. The Orioles switch gears to some baseball. And I do want to talk about Craig introduced yesterday. I thought they were doing the press conference on YouTube, but then I didn't see it. So then I said, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't see it. But then they announced that they did do it. They put it out like right before it live. So I couldn't have, with the time I had, I wasn't able to prepare the stream. So it is what it is. I should have just did it earlier. But nevertheless, it is what it is. We will rock and roll regardless either way. Now looking at it, I'm very invested in seeing what Alvarez does with this team this season. Now the Orioles did announce, and this is courtesy of Andy Koska, Tyler O'Neill, Muscles O'Neill, Biceps O'Neill, opted into the remainder of his 3-year contract with the Orioles. He had an opt-out possibility following this past season. He signed last year for 3 years and $49.5 million. He hit 199 this year, battling injury after injury after injury, aka general soreness. Now, I do want to see what he can be in 2025. The Orioles are going to need a right-handed bat. No, they may not go out and spend big money like we want on a Kyle Schwarber. They may not go out and spend big money on a guy we may want like a Kyle Tucker, but they have Tyler O'Neill. Am I expecting him to be an all-star? No, but can he just show up for 120 games? Can he show up for, triple-digit games in the outfield potentially? Can he hit over the Mendoza line? Can he hit over 20 home runs? He has the power to do so. He's just, as we always say, the best ability is availability. And if he can be available, there's a shot he could be better than people think. But I didn't like the signing really too much. I would have resolved with, let's just keep Santander if we're going to do that. But the power is there, and he could be a guy, like I said, maybe he hits over 20 home runs. But not holding my breath. I'm going to set the bar low, and if he clears it, I will give him his flowers. But the Orioles keeping him, or he deciding to stay, opting in, they still owe him, what, $30+ million. So he'll be here the next 2 years minimum with the Orioles. So he has time to turn it around. It's been a fail so far, and can't go much lower than where he was at. Like I said, if he can just play triple-digit games, I'll even take 100 games. I'll even take 100 games. if he can play 100 games, I'll take that. You know what I mean? And play a couple of those, most of those games in the outfield. BDH as needed. You can use him in that. You can move him around to right or left if needed. I don't know if he's going to play much left field in Camden Yards, so maybe just right field or DH, but you get the point. So Tyler O'Neill will be a Baltimore Oriole next year as well. Now, this is an interesting, which probably should have happened last year, but Jorge Mateo did not have his $5.5 million contract option picked up by the Orioles. He'll be a free agent, as it was reported. Mateo is 30 years of age, been with the Orioles since 2021, stole 35 bases in 2022, but an injury-plagued year. He only played 42 games. He couldn't hit. I mean, he probably, if he could hit 150, that'd be a surprise. But if he could just hit over 200 and just get on base, he could score a lot of runs. He could steal 40 bases a year. But he can't play center field. He's an injury-plagued guy. The bat never translated. And will he get picked up somewhere else? Maybe. But for $5.5 million, it's been good, Jorge. You had some good moments. We appreciate you. You are one of the best base runners in baseball, but your time in Baltimore is done. I think he'll get picked up somewhere, though, just because of that speed. The Orioles, hopefully this year, do a better job of using small ball, manufacturing runs, and doing things out of the norm to score runs, not just relying on home runs, but also moving runners, sacrifice hits, bunts, things like that that help fundamental baseball. Now, they have Orioles announced also with the bullpen before we get to this one. Rico Garcia is signed to the active roster. Love that move. The Orioles are going to need to rebuild their bullpen, so that's going to be very important. Now, they also agreed to a one-year deal on a guy I like when they traded Charlie Morton to the Tigers with an option for 2027. So a one-year deal with that's a club option with 2027. So it could be a 2-year deal with left-hander Dietrich Enns. He pitched 28 and 2/3 innings for Baltimore and had a 3.14 ERA. He had a $3 million option for 2026. This supersedes that. So he will not only be here 2026 if he does what he's supposed to do, he'll be here in 2027. So Rico Garcia, Dietrich Enns, you need a lefty, you need arms in the bullpen, you got to rebuild the entire thing. You need a closer. That is a good start, getting some guys who are already in-house. The Charlie Morton trade got us back a guy who could help make an impact on his club immediately, and Dietrich Enns. Sometimes you may not be utilized right where you're at, but you need a change of scenery or a new opportunity for that to be shown and your light to shine. And I think for Dietrich Enns, here in Baltimore, the opportunity presented itself. 28 and 2/3 innings, 3.14 ERA. You take that in the bullpen, especially when he's a lefty. You need guys like that in the middle of your bullpen that can pitch in high leverage situations. So Dietrich Enns, I'm loving that move. Rico Garcia, I'm loving that move so far, and I'm loving what they're doing already. I think addressing what they need to address first, which I think is the bullpen, then work your way to the starters of if you're going to go down that trade route, if you're going to try to acquire a high price free agent. That can happen later when we get to the winter meetings. I mean, they didn't acquire Corbin Burns until right before spring training. So patience is going to be key for baseball fans in general when it comes to free agency, because we know about the looming potential of a work stoppage in 2027. So we will definitely see what happens there. And also, the contract is worth, there we go, the numbers. A guaranteed $2.625 million in 2026, and in 2027, the club option is worth $3.5 million. Now there's a buyout worth $125,000 if they don't exercise the option. So a base value of 2026 is $2.5 million. So if they want to buy him out, it's just $125,000. This is a good contract for both ends because he makes more than he was scheduled to make. He gets that security. The Orioles can get him long term on a more affordable, team friendly deal, and you got somebody who can help stabilize that bullpen, as mentioned. Now, Stephen Vogt, the manager of the Cleveland Guardians, friend and former boss of Craig Albanaz, was there, and you saw David Rubenstein, Mike Elias also there together with my guy, Mr. Albanaz from Massachusetts. Heavy accent. It's going to take me a minute to get adjusted to the accent. The first 10 to 15 seconds of hearing him talk, I got to get adjusted to it to make out what he's saying. But great baseball mind, clearly someone who's a good communicator, works well with young talent, has the ability and the know-how as a former catcher, made it to AAA, what it takes to be successful, knows how to use a bullpen and hopefully a pitching staff, running with Stephen Vogt, having that identity. That is going to be very, very important. So let's go through some of the things that we heard during this press conference as well. Mike Elias said this was a thorough, extensive search. He thanked the Guardians for their graciousness to take time interviewing Craig Albanaz over several weeks. And I quote, "There are many things that attracted us to him," Elias said, "one of which is his history with the Rays, Guards, and Giants. He did work in the Rays organization. Kevin Cash, we know what they do. Worked in the Guardians organization. We know what they do. Don't always spend the biggest amount of money, but they get results. But they draft and develop well. But they teach and print and preach fundamental baseball. They instill those values. They lean on you when you need to be leaned on, but they do it the right way. They don't do it in public. They don't call out their players. They do it behind the scenes. They help empower and employ the leaders of this team to step up and be leaders in their own way to help the team, and they're there to support them as well." So it comes from great organizations, comes from good stock, as the old folk used to say, and you love what you hear there. I quote, "I think, and our department thinks, that Craig is the right leader for the Orioles," Mike Elias said. Elias said the aim is to return to the playoffs and shoot for a World Series. Hey, Toronto was last place last year in the AL East, and they made it to the World Series. Multiple occasions, they were 1 out away or 2 outs away from their first title in over 30 years. But nevertheless, if the Orioles can just make the playoffs next year, that's a good start. But if they do make the playoffs, expectations change, and we here in Birdland are going to expect a deep run, to say the least. And there you go. You see Albernaz putting on the jersey there. There we go. Let's go back to that. There you go. As Albernaz is going to be, I believe, that is number 55, Cinco y Cinco. So he's going to be 55, Albernaz. You see him with Mike Elias. You see David Rubenstein. So that is going to be very, very intriguing to get used to. Who used to wear 55 Orioles? Anybody of note? Well, I don't know. I know 55 was Terrell Suggs with the Ravens, so that's good to see. And hey, we hope it works out for Albanaz as he dons his new threads with the Orioles there as well. So as everyone gets their pictures and their glam shots of the new manager there. And also, let's go to our next quote. Let's see. Uh, Craig Albernaz said the Orioles are going to play a very exciting brand of baseball. Goes to what a lot of us have been saying in the community. What is the identity of this team? Toronto, they were a tough out. They fought to the last out. They were clutch. They used every part of the field. They didn't swing at bad pitches, and they made hard contact. David Rubenstein said or joked, despite his accent, Craig Albanez was clearly the top choice for Baltimore. He's been a leader everywhere he's been. Joking. These rich folk have a very interesting sense of humor. I'll say that. But yeah, the accent does take some getting used to. But I get a good feel from this guy when I hear him speak and some of the things that he said as well. Craig Albanez said he wants a diverse offense, one that does the little things right. Of course, he joked he would take 10 homers a night. Yeah, the way this team is built, they need a shift from the mashing home run team that they have been when they have been successful under Buck Showalter and Brandon Hyde, which you gotta still have. But you look at the Dodgers lineup, you got 1 through 9, or even Toronto's lineup 1 through 9. It's a tough out. So you want to have that diverse offense. You want to have your mash guys that can hit home runs. You want to have your guys that can go the other way. You want to have your guys that make hard contact and can get on base. You want to have guys who can mash, hit with runners in scoring position, move runners over, execute on the little things, and be diverse. So diversify your portfolio, I say. Craig Albanaz, we love the kids here on the Flex Zone. He said his kids are the greatest gift. His youngest daughter, 2-year-old Gigi, shouts, "I love you." Craig said, "I love you too." Then his daughter joins him up there. She stole the show. So shout out to the newest member of the Birdland family, the wonderful, such a cutie, Gigi, and her dad, Craig. Craig Albanez makes a 6'7" joke, and his sons, 8 and 6 years old, enjoyed it. I don't know what 6'7" means, and I don't care to know. But if you want to let me know what it means, feel free. I've even probably looked it up and still am even more confused than I was before. But yeah, he did mention that joke. His sons, as mentioned, did love it. So
go Google it.
I'll have to Google it again, JD. I'll have to Google it again. David Rubenstein, Orioles owner, said the promotion of Mike Elias, the president of baseball operations, was because of their confidence in Elias for years to come. Rubenstein said he is shy, so he didn't feel the need to promote the news. Yeah, this was weird. Tongue-in-cheek joke, I guess. I wasn't very much in love with it, but it was what it was. And, I guess they're trying to lighten the mood. Still doesn't divert from the fact they should have told people because it was going to get out and then only cause more backlash of why you didn't say anything if you're promoted. So it is what it is. And I'm pretty sure you're not shy as a GM of a Major League Baseball team. The first family of Baltimore baseball, Craig Albanez, his wife, Genevieve, and his children, CJ, Norman, and Gigi, who we just spoke about. So here's the wonderful Albanez family as well. So welcome to Baltimore, the first family. So sons rocking the Mohawks. Love this. Love the suits with the Oriole pins. Send one my way if anyone gets one as well. So there you have it. Camden Yards is going under some new renovations. That money's at work from the State Board of Elections and the Baltimore or Maryland Stadium Commission. The Camden Yards scoreboard is under construction and turf is off the field. So they're getting a new scoreboard. I believe they're updating the sound. They have new elite premium seating, club level options, and options for elite club members. So you get those options behind home plate. You see the scoreboard that's going to be updated. The is removed, so they're going to be redoing things there at the yard. So always love them elevating and improvising and adapting and just creating that wonderful new vibe for the Orioles at one of the best ballparks in baseball. The ballpark that changed baseball, as a lot of people said as well. And David Rubenstein on Mike Elias. Mike Elias was American League Executive of the Year a few years ago. He knows baseball inside and out. He's shy and doesn't like to promote himself, so we didn't make a big announcement about it. But Mike deserves everything that he has received from O's. I agree. I'm a Mike Elias guy. I love a guy who can draft, develop, build talent in other ways without having to just spend money. Now you got to add that with spending money. David Rubenstein making the right choices as well. Mike Elias and David Rubenstein in ownership, which I think they have the right people there as well. So it's not that it's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's the right cooks in the kitchen because you have guys who can give that right input, who can help Albanez adjust. And I want to see how he fills out this coaching staff as well. Stephen Vogt said he couldn't miss being at the introductory press conference for Craig Albanez, one of his best friends. It's an exciting day for all of us because Craig's earned it and more, so ecstatic for him. He's going to absolutely crush it. I believe so. And I like Stephen Vogt, one of the best managers in baseball. Christians, he would like to see whatever Mike wants to cook up. That's what Mike does best around the offseason is cook. No, I trust Mike. I trust in the group. For me as a manager of the team is all who the players are in the clubhouse. Yeah, Mike Elias is going to get who he wants to get. And Craig Albanez is going to be a good yes man. He's going to be a good soldier because he's not going to be outspoken and go against what they want to do here already. He's going to fit in what they like to do, and he's going to take what they give him, the ingredients that they buy, and he's going to try to prepare the best meal as manager for this team in 2026. And that's all he can do. He can only control what he can control. So he's going to do his job, stay in his lane, and whoever they bring in, he's going to get the best out of them, which I think is the sign of a good manager. I do love this move. The Orioles did reacquire Andrew Kittredge. They traded him at the deadline last year, and the exchange was for cash considerations, $9 million team option for 2020. Kittredge pitched with the Cubs in the postseason, did a hell of a job from what I saw as well, even until they ultimately lost to the Brewers. But I like the move. Solidifying that bullpen. Ends, Garcia. Now you get Kittredge back. That's 3 legit arms right there for 2026. So I like the fact that they're putting the pieces together. They're not pussyfooting. They're getting things done. And I like that they're doing things in-house, getting the people they need to get bought back and get them on team-friendly deals for multiple years, as well as, hey, let's bring back a guy who, at this point, has a year left on his deal, a controllable guy. We got something for him before. Let's give them something back they could use. They want to re-sign maybe Kyle Tucker or a big-name free agent. They have money. We'll give them that, and we'll solidify our bullpen. Nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with it as well. Andrew Kittredge. Mike Elias traded half a season of Andrew Kittredge for Dominican shortstop prospect Wilfred De La Cruz, a 17-year-old. Now Elias trades cash to get Kittredge back, presuming the Orioles pick up Kittredge's option for 2026. Chestnut checkers. This is why I like Mike Elias, because that is a smooth move. And remember, he was hurt last year in the beginning of the season. He came back ahead of schedule before the All-Star break. I thought he would be out until the All-Star break or later, but he came in and did what he was supposed to do. He took some time to get wound up, but he looks to be, yes, he's a year older. He's not a spring chicken, but I think why not get him for one more year? Why not get him at a presumably $6 million club option, which if you sign any reliever in the offseason, even for 1 year, you're paying probably upwards of 10 to 12 million minimum for a mid-level guy. So someone like Kittredge on the open market, they're getting over 10 million. So you think about that, you get them for 6 chestnut checkers. You get Wilfred De La Cruz, a 17-year-old from the Dominican. We don't know what he's going to be in 3 or 4 years. We don't know what he's going to be in 5 years. You know what I mean? He's only 17. So really, we don't even know what this brother's going to be. We can only project. So Gunnar Henderson may not be here in 2 or 3 years. Adley Rutschman may not be here in 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? They may need to redo the entire infield or the entire right side of the infield at shortstop and third base. We don't know, because after 2026, a lot could happen after that year, because we don't know. With the work stoppage, Gunnar, Adley, people like that are going to need to get paid. Kyles or Westberg. It's going to be interesting to see. So having a guy in the pipeline like that or maybe one of these magic beans that you can flip for a pitcher eventually could happen as well. But I think Elias wanted that guy because he loves those international prospects. He's a young guy that they can mold and develop in the Oriole way. And at 17 years of age, like I said, we really won't know who he is until he gets to be 20, 21 years old. And that's on the accelerated end. So like I said, we may not even know for another 5 years where he's 22, 23 maybe. But if he becomes what he could be, hopefully, hey, who knows? They could have someone in 2 or 3 years that we're really looking at as well. And Craig Ibanez was himself at his first press conference, and that's what the team needs. He was himself. He was being genuine. I felt like he was being authentic. And I think he is showing that he's going to do what he needs to do to help this team be successful in 2026. I think if this team can just stay healthy, I think they're going to win more than 75 games. I think if this team can just do the things that they're doing right now in-house, cleaning up their own house, retaining some of their own talent, not letting it just fall at the wayside or go to other teams, doing it kind of like how you see the Rays, Guardians, those teams do. Retain their talent, get cheap labor, and then flip guys when you can get the most for them. And then if you can get the guy back, why not? Hey, that's what I like to see. Now, the Orioles will have an entirely new Major League hitting staff. Cody Ashley, the Orioles' lead hitting coach, is expected to join the Tiger staff, confirms People of the Athletic as well. Baltimore's first base coach, Anthony Sanders, is going to the Tigers as well. I'm a big AJ Hinch guy, so I want to see what they bring to Detroit. We know Detroit's offense has been a talking point of their struggles. We know what they got with Scooble. We don't know how much longer they're going to have him. This could be his last season in Detroit because I think he is going to want to get paid, and I don't think Detroit's going to give him what he wants. Now, where does he go? You can fill in the blank there, but they're going to go all in one more year with Scooble. They bring in Cody Ashley. I like Anthony Sanders as well. We'll see what happens there, but it's going to be interesting to see what indeed happens there with the Orioles and the offseason. Like I said, there's a lot of pieces out there. I like the Albanez hire, and I think he's shown that he's going to be himself. He's going to bring that mentality and that identity that we want with guys he's been under. Stephen Vogt, most recently, very close in the Rays organization, the Giants organization, playing at AAA level, having catchers that he said he's going to lean on in Adley Rutschman, Samuel Basayo. So I expect him to be good right by them, and I do expect them to take a leap as well. And like I said, if just guys can just stay healthy. Westberg, give me 120 games. O'Neal, give me 100 games. Gunnar, do what you do. Holiday, continue to ascend. Good morning, Jerry. How you doing? Join us, man. Make sure you go back and watch the stream. We talked about all these trades. I'm getting ready to get out of here, but appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up and subscribe also. But, they are adding pieces to what they need. Appreciate. Yeah, Jerry, I'm hurt for you. He was one of the bright spots of what the Saints had. He's a really good underrated receiver. A deep threat, can really vertically help out the offense and help open up things on the running lanes or other receivers. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You add Jerry, you add Shaheed with that. You got Walker, you got Charbonnet. So the Seahawks are a team I'm looking forward to seeing how far they can go. I don't trust Sam Darnold, but we'll see. But, I'm surprised New Orleans didn't trade more people, Jerry. Cam Jordan, Chase Young, Chimera still there. I guess I get a Saints credit, man. They're playing hard. They don't quit. I like Kellen Moore. I think they have some potential. Obviously, we'll see what Shuck is starting now. So we'll see what Shuck can do. Rattler wasn't terrible, but he just couldn't finish the deal. But we'll see what Shuck can do. And they got to get out of this credit card mentality to do the Saints, man. They got to get out of this cap hell. They got to free up some of that cap. Hence why I thought they would make more trades. But we'll see what they do. And hopefully they get, I don't know if they want a quarterback this year because the quarterback class isn't that great. But they deserve a top 3 pick. And we'll see what they do with it. But the NFC South, man, you got the Panthers playing well. You got the Buccaneers in first place. And you also have the Falcons fighting for their lives as well. So we'll see. But Orioles got to do what they need to do. Clean up their own house. Continue to do what they're doing. I like what they're doing so far. They aren't pussyfooting around. They aren't waiting until it's getting late early. We're in Thanksgiving, Christmas, and, nothing's happened, no movement, it's quiet. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. They need to add a lot of still need more, but I think if guys can just be healthy and guys, the young players, take the next step, improve, don't regress, progress. And if they can do that, I think they'll be at least over 500. Like I said, I think they will add. Will they make a trade for Freddie Peralta, Hunter Green? We'll see what prospects are they willing to let go of. We know they like to hoard prospects, like the Ravens like to hoard draft picks. We'll see. But I'm expecting Draymond Jones and Carl Lawson to give them something they don't have, at least in the run game. And we'll see what happens on Sunday with Minnesota. We'll be live for the post-game show on Sunday. Check us out. It'll be Sunday night because we got some things going on. I'll be out and about, but we'll be back Sunday night recapping all of that and week 10 of the NFL season. NFL trade deadline in the books. Quentin Williams helps rebuild the Cowboys defense. The Jets get a plethora of picks, a haul, if you would say. And the Colts try to go all in with Sauce. Is he the missing piece? I don't know. It'll come down to Daniel Jones, in my opinion, still. But we shall see. Make sure if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you leave a like. Every like you hit, it pushes us to the algorithm. Let YouTube know, hey, this channel's got some great content. Make sure you check them out. Push what they got to other people who like this type of content. Vote on the poll. Let us know which player makes the biggest impact for their team. Also, make sure if you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Search the Flex Zone Podcast. Subscribe. I promise we got plenty of content to get lost into. Plenty of content that I'm sure you'll love. Something for everybody. We'll be live tonight, AEW Dynamite. We have the advantage matches for Blood and Guts. Big month of November, John Cena's Last Time Is Now tournament. We got the last two appearances of John Cena on Raw, Survivor Series, Full Gear, Blood and Guts, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, Baltimore Ravens post-game shows, Washington Commanders post-game shows, previews and predictions with all those shows, the flagship podcast on Mondays as well. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for watching. I'm getting ready to get out of here. We gone. Appreciate Dre one more time. Safe travels, my brother, to Minnesota to watch the Ravens get a win, hopefully, and to Lambeau Field for a big Monday Night Showdown. Eagles, Packers. I feel like the Eagles are going to win, but the Packers, after we trash them and say they play down to their competition, watch they play up to the Eagles' competition. I think it will be a close game, but I think the Eagles win a close one in that contest. We'll get to all that this week. We'll have previews, predictions, and recaps. And live streams. Like I said, we'll be live tonight. Check out all the content. We were live for NXT. We were live on Monday, live for Raw, and live for Saturday night's main event. Got previews and predictions for those matches. And we'll keep it rocking and rolling all month long as we head into the holiday season and close out 2025 with a bang, looking to continue to grow and give you great content and sports how you want it, when you need it. I'm getting out of here. Have a great day, everybody. It is 11:30 on the East Coast. If you haven't had your breakfast yet, get your breakfast, get your coffee. If you missed the stream, go back and watch what you haven't. Hit the thumbs up. Appreciate everybody watching and checking in. We'll see you later. If you're watching after the fact, leave a comment. It helps us out tremendously in the algorithm. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Much love in the chat. Shout out to everybody who was watching the musical entourage. Big Rogers in the building. JTZ. What's going on, Alex? Can't forget you. Don Royal, as always, stopping through, showing love, as always. And my guy, Jerry G, repping the 504 with the Saints. Hope it gets better for you, brother. I want to see the Saints be great again. They deserve it. The city of New Orleans is a great place. Some great people down there. You guys deserve it. We're great over here. We're going to keep pushing out great content throughout the rest of 2025, giving you the best of the best of the best. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day. It's Wednesday. We're almost to Friday, and football week 10 is about 24 hours away. Thank you for watching. Trade deadline recap. Thanks again to Dre. Everybody in the chat. We gone, y'all. Peace. Throw your ones up and acknowledge us. Have a good day, everybody.
Oh.